Brian. Brian Lehrer on WNYC, and we're going to close today with kind of a World Cup related call-in, but it isn't about soccer. It's about what has surprised you about the United States, and you don't have to be following the World Cup at all for this one. It's about what has surprised you about the United States or New York or anywhere else in the United States when you first came here as a visitor or an immigrant. 212-433-WNYC, 212-433-9692. In a way, we're asking you to put yourself in de Tocqueville's shoes, if you want to take that classic example. It's about what has surprised you. That's the question. What has surprised you about the United States or New York or anywhere else in the country, if maybe you're from New York, when you first came here or went there as a visitor or an immigrant? 212-433-WNYC, call or text, 212-433-9692. Why do I say this is kind of World Cup related? Well, if you've been anywhere near social media during this World Cup, you've probably seen some of the videos, the international fans visiting the United States for the tournament, completely floored by things most Americans don't think about twice. Like Today.com reports that fans from Japan, England, Norway, Scotland, and elsewhere have been going viral trying ranch dressing as a surprise to them. Have you seen that? The TSA at the airports recently had to remind travelers that ranch dressing counts as a liquid for carry-on purposes. Have you experienced anything like that when you were new to New York or new to the United States? Another one, older than this year's World Cup. A friend of mine who moved here from Ireland a number of years ago couldn't believe how many bananas New Yorkers seem to eat. Bananas for sale on street corners everywhere was a new thing for this friend. So those are some specific food-related culture shocks. How about yours? Have you experienced a culinary revelation, either moving to the United States or, for that matter, moving to somewhere else than the New York area within the United States? Tell us your stories. 212-433-WNYC, 433-9692 on the phone or in a text. Maybe your culture shock wasn't about food at all. Maybe it was scale, like The Hill, that Washington news organization, reporting on World Cup visitors' culture shock, describes fans expressing actual amazement just at the size and abundance of everyday American life. Supermarkets. I think New York City residents experience this when they go to the suburbs. The supermarket aisles are how big? But people coming from elsewhere to the United States, the size and scale of supermarkets, of portion sizes, of the ubiquity of convenience stores is another one they mention. So if you've immigrated to the United States from somewhere with a different relationship to scale or abundance, what was the thing that actually stopped you in your tracks? Maybe it wasn't even the big obvious stuff. Maybe it was something small, like aisle after aisle of one kind of product. 212-433-WNYC, 212-433-9692. And I'll just say before we take the break and then take your calls and texts, sometimes culture shock is disorienting before it's funny, right? It's that moment of realizing the unspoken rules you grew up with don't apply here, and you have to relearn how to move through the world or this piece of the world. Maybe it's how you do or do not assert yourself in public or professional relationships. For example, we don't really haggle prices in the United States very much. Right? Some contexts, yes, but most contexts, no. Maybe it's about how you dress or treat elders. And that was a culture shock point for you. Whether or not you split the bill on a first date is another one that's come up. If that's been your experience, whether you arrived here as an immigrant, a refugee, or just someone who moved somewhere unfamiliar from, I don't know, Columbus, Ohio, Norfolk, Virginia, Salt Lake City, we are inviting those stories too, and what helped you find your footing. 212-433-WNYC, 212-433-9692. 9692, or if you prefer the other way around, when you've gone from New York. I lived in Columbus briefly in Ohio, and one of the things that I learned very quickly was that people there were not laughing at some of my jokes that people in New York would laugh at. One tiny example. How about for you if you moved from the New York area? So 212-433-WNYC. Call or text on this kind of culture shock. Coming to the U.S., coming to New York, or going from here to somewhere else. 212-433-9692. We'll hear what you got right after this. Brian Lehrer on WNYC. Now to your culture shock calls, like some people here for the World Cup have been experiencing, about what has surprised you about the United States or New York or anywhere else in the country when you first came or went as a visitor or an immigrant. 212-433-WNYC. And we're going to start off with B. Flora in Summit. You're on WNYC. Hello.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for taking my call. I moved to New York in 1997 from the UK, and New York stores are not exactly the biggest, but I would become paralyzed shopping for cereal. I would just, on the shelves, there would be cereal box after cereal box, and I was just looking for muesli, and it would just lead me to such confusion. I would always just leave without buying the cereal I came in for.
Overwhelming choices. Some people who are in marketing do say if you give people too many choices, then they're a little more likely not to buy anything. So it sounds like that might have been your experience. B. Flora, thanks for starting us off. Raj in Princeton, you're on WNYC. Hey, Raj.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we got you. Hi.
Yeah. So we came to the US in 1998, and I had a small girl, grade 1, when she joined here. And the PTA arranged a Thanksgiving party for us, for all the new immigrants. It was so beautiful. We were able to understand what Thanksgiving is all about. And that day and today, Thanksgiving is the most important festival for us.
Raj, thank you very much. The PTA arranged Thanksgiving dinner for families. Surprised him. Maybe it was the, Raj, was it just the hospitality or was it the Thanksgiving story?
Both of them.
Thank you very much. Let's go next to Gareth in Irvington on Hudson. Hello, Gareth. You're on WNYC.
Hi there. My comment is trivial compared to the last one, but I remember getting right off the plane, having fast food when I first moved here, and getting handed about 20 satchels of ketchup with my meal. And I was like, I don't believe this. We pay 50p for a tiny satchel of ketchup, at the fast food joints, McDonald's or whatever in the UK. And I've now got 20 little satchels of ketchup. I'll never be able to eat all this lot. And and over the years, of course, I've now got the junk drawer at home, where all that stuff gets thrown in, never to be seen again. But
the little mustards, the little soy sauces, all of that, right? Gareth.
Exactly.
Thank you very much. How about Lawrence in North Merrick? You're on WNYC. Hi, Lawrence.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for taking the call. When I arrived in America from Ireland in September of 1986, on the first weekend I was here, the person I had come to stay with suggested I go out to the deli and get a bacon and egg sandwich. This, I was 100% certain he was playing a prank on me, because back in Ireland, bacon and egg was cooked in your own kitchen on your own frying pan. And I just couldn't believe, and I further couldn't believe it when it actually turned out to be true that you could get a bacon and egg sandwich and a cup of coffee for $1.49.
Lawrence, this may surprise you, but James in Lindenhurst is calling with the exact same thing. James, is that right about the bacon?
Totally, Brian. I mean, it was amazing to be able to walk into a store and get breakfast. The whole, as they say in Ireland, shit and caboodle. I mean, a total breakfast for really cheap. It was just totally amazing. Blew me away.
All right. Again, from Ireland and about that bacon, egg, and cheese. Wendy in Manhattan. You're on WNYC. Hi, Wendy.
Oh, hey, Brian. I came to New York in 1985, or to the United States in 85 when I was 25. And the first thing that struck me were the school buses. I had this impression that America was like a Coca-Cola ad and everything was shiny and brand new and modern. And I couldn't believe the old-fashioned school buses. And in New Zealand, where I'm from, those buses are used as prison buses. So I would be like, you're driving kids to school in prison buses.
There you go, Wendy. Thank you very much. Yeah, time to replace a lot of those school buses. Let's see, another one in a text came from outside the region. Online. What are you on? You're part of the line. In line, not online. Someone else, let's see. As an Italian living in the U.S., I continue to be shocked by the pharmaceutical ads everywhere. When I was a child, I thought they implied that people here were so healthy because they had access. Another one that's now gone way down on my screen also said that he was surprised when he came here that people didn't have universal health insurance. Let's see, can we sneak in one more call? Okay, Sylvia in Raleigh, North Carolina. You're on WNYC. Hey, Sylvia, we got about 30 seconds for you.
Okay, I lived in New York for many years, and once when I was taking some Ukrainians around New York, long before the war, we went to see Chicago, and after a bit, they were discovering Broadway, and after a little bit, one of them turned to me and whispered, "Are they really acting and dancing and singing all at the same time?"
All right, the chorus in the musical. There you go. And that's going to do it. Really interesting stuff. So anybody who's listening now who's here for the World Cup and maybe found us one way or another, don't be surprised that you're surprised. I guess that's what we can end on with that. The Brian Lehrer Show is produced by Lisa Allison, Mary Croak, Amina Cerna, Carl Boisrond, and Esperanza Rosenbaum. Our intern this summer is Mariana Schultz, Juliana Fonda, and Milton Ruiz at the audio controls. Stay tuned for all of it.